and welcome to the 15th episode of Recluse Horror. This is a daily horror movie review podcast. With me today, again, is Sam.
Hey.
It's been a couple of days.
Yeah.
Samuel's very tired.
Always.
So, yeah, just a little background on this project. Back in April of last year, on my birthday, I decided that I wanted to watch and review a horror movie every single day. I have done so for the past, including today at least, 282 days, I think. I think I put the number wrong on this one. But this is only the 15th episode of the podcast. Yes, I did put the number wrong. Before that, these were text reviews, so the movie that we're going to talk about today is The Amazing Mr. X from 1948. Sam, how did you like the movie?
I actually liked it a lot.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of unique in a few ways, which we can get into, but how would you synopsize the movie without spoilers? There's a woman who is a widow that is looking to, she's very close to being engaged to her boyfriend. She's been, I don't know, they seem to imply it's at least been a couple of years or something.
I think they say 2 years.
2 years? Okay. Yeah, her husband has been dead for a couple of years, and she's, getting towards remarrying when she, what would you say?
The movie's hard to say because it kind of starts one way, turns into another movie, and then kind of ends.
Yeah.
So it's basically about this lady who's getting over her deceased husband, and she comes across what does he call himself? Alexis.
Alexis, but I don't know if they ever say his last name.
No, what does he call himself? He's not a fortune teller.
Oh, I don't know, like a medium or something?
Yeah.
He's like a psychic medium?
Yeah. And that's pretty much the synopsis of the story to me, like.
Yeah.
Like, from there, it kind of goes not a bunch of places, but kind of different places.
Yeah. I think that's a fair.
Yeah, she's still, like, kind of, like, haunted by her husband's memory type of stuff.
Yeah, she keeps his picture by her bed, and, so probably the first thing to note, and I might be wrong, maybe I just missed it or something, do they ever refer to Alexis as the amazing Mr. X?
Not that I've ever. It totally sounds like a name
that he might go by or something?
No, movies at the time had, like, crazy names.
Yeah, they did. It's true.
I imagine it was probably, like, something completely different. They're like...
Yeah.
Like, we gotta...
We gotta punch up this title. Yeah.
I could, go through some of the movies that the actor Alexis, what's his name?
Turhan Bey?
Yeah, some of the movies he was in. Because there a lot of them are from that same time, and they all have, like, crazy names.
Okay, go through the titles.
Footsteps in the Dark,
nice.
Raiders of the Desert, The Gay Falcon.
The Gay Falcon.
Unseen Enemy. This is the one. Junior G-Man of the Air. That's the one I was specifically thinking of.
Drums of the Congo.
Yeah, Drums of the Congo. Danger of the Pacific.
Oh, he was in Arabian Nights.
White Savage.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Yeah, just
stuff like Dragon Seed. Is that Dragon Seed? Isn't that an anime?
I don't think so. It could be.
I don't know.
Just stuff like that. They would just add kind of stuff too, like that.
Yeah.
I think it's probably one of those situations where they were like, this name isn't gonna do anything. We gotta.
Yeah.
Add to it after the fact. Otherwise, they probably would have said.
Right.
The Amazing Mr. X. Whatever,
at least one time.
Whatever that's supposed to mean.
Well, and he's, he's definitely a more dignified character than that. I feel like the way he carries himself is not, he's not a friggin' magician, The character he's playing is not a magician. So, yeah.
Going into it, for some reason, I thought maybe he was going to be like an alien.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
I've heard the movie a bunch of times. I didn't really know anything about it. Yeah, but for some reason I thought it sounded less like horror and more like science fiction.
Yeah. It kind of did.
But
it was on one of those horror movie collections. You get the 50 movies in one DVD set, and of course, like 70 of the 50 of them you've already seen. but there's usually a couple that are different that you might not have, so you always have to be like, okay, have I seen this? Do I already own 6 copies of this? And I just don't remember the title because the movie wasn't very good. Like, yeah. But yeah, so we decided to watch it because we had like one of those lying around from a friend of ours. Nestor isn't listening, but thank you, Nestor. So yeah, what else did you want to talk about before? Because there's a couple of things that I want to talk about, but there's probably other things that you wanted to discuss.
I really liked the movie a lot more than I thought, a lot more than most of these types of movies.
Really?
Even though I gravitate to them, I really like these types of movies, but it was just better than I thought. It wasn't very long.
Smarter, I felt like.
Yeah, it wasn't very long, so it made the pacing really well. It had a good like 3-esque like setup, like act setup, like a first act, second act, third act played really well. The conclusion's really fast. Which I always like. Yeah. I'm always like, yo, the monster's dead, movie's over, why are we still here? This is the epitome of that. It's like, oh, it's over.
It's over. Bam, done, over.
More than that, I like the feel of the movie. And I like the cinematography and the... Yeah,
that's one of the things
and
I
the shots they got and some of the lighting they had for a lot of them.
Yeah.
Some of the shots are really picturesque. Some of them fall victim to, like, the style of the time.
Yeah,
which isn't that bad, but it's just very common.
Yeah.
But some of the shots are very unique, especially for the time. You could tell whoever was in charge of that was trying to use new stuff, and some of it paid off, some of it didn't, and was kind of weird, but it was good in that way, and there was a lot of really good shots, and I think the special effects they used were well placed. They didn't do a lot of it.
Yeah, but what they had, I mean, and of course, by modern standards, they're ridiculous, but considering this movie was made and released in the 40s, they have some really incredible effects. They really do.
They were utilized well, too.
They were,
Ever feel like they used the wrong type of effect for a certain time. Or place.
Yeah, for sure. The cinematography too, they had a few shots that I'm like, how do you even accomplish that in the 40s? I was really surprised by that. I guess I shouldn't talk specifically about this moment. I think this is something better discovered, especially if you're a fan of movies of this time. There are some unique shots, and it's clever camera work. It's not just like, oh, that's a good angle or something like that. Just how they achieved a certain effect, shot wise was really sort of surprising and something that I certainly had never seen out of a movie this early. I thought the pacing of the movie was pretty good. They maybe spent a little more time on the like boyfriend / fiance, whatever that thing, a little bit too much. I thought, like, I didn't think that was necessary to the story that they ended up getting to eventually, but I mean, it's not obnoxious, and it honestly isn't that long. It just, I mean, there's a reason why they added it, but there isn't like a reason that it needed to take as much time.
Yeah, they added a little bit. It didn't bother me too much, but yeah, it was something that needed, but they spent a lot of time on it thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why it was like that, but
yeah.
It didn't bother me too much, but now that you say it, I recognize.
Right.
I recognize it.
Yeah, like I said, it didn't bug me very much, and I really didn't. It was really more upon reflection that, like, it just wasn't totally necessary to the story that it was, you know. Well, did you want to talk about the actors? Was there anybody else from the cast that you know that did anything remarkable? Or?
No. A lot of the actors are actually in a lot of a decent amount of movies, mostly of this time. Mm-hmm. But nothing really of
note.
Of note, yeah. Even for the time, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's weird that this is kind of like
it stands alone.
Yeah, there's like some Mummy's Tomb type of stuff, and I think some of these actors were in like Charlie Chan.
Oh boy.
Movies, yeah. Nothing.
They didn't know no better.
Nothing. Nothing that really that and I can't.
You don't know every movie that was popular in the 50s and 40s.
I don't really recognize them, and it's interesting too because the actors aren't all in like horror movies, like 40s and 50s horror movies. They're in a lot of different types of movies, so
yeah.
I can't really recognize anybody for anybody, and the director didn't do a ton of movies either.
Really?
Yeah, I would expect
it was
this
good.
director
Yeah, the directing seemed good.
Gone on, and even if he was making like a million B movies to have made them, but no, he didn't have a lot of credits. So this is kind of a weird movie in that way. You know, and I'm sure people who are more like tuned into to this era of movies probably knows them from other stuff.
Probably, yeah.
Their performance is probably in another movie.
Yeah, I like the 40s and 50s, but like, it does sort of all run together, and
yeah, but like personally, I just don't know any of the actors for any of the other parts, and they're not stuff that I think is big.
Yeah. So did you want to talk about our favorite character?
The crow.
Yeah.
There's a cute crow in this.
The whole thing. It's so great. Should we tell them what it does the one time, or should we let them find it out? No, you know what time I'm talking about.
It crows, huh?
Yeah, it does. It does crow.
Crows.
It crows. Should I tell them?
It's your podcast.
I won't tell them. The crow does a cool thing. And it's also pretty much awesome just in general. Yeah, it's like, it's Alexis's crow. It's his buddy. They're friends together. It's cute. I like that crow. I want it. I think crows and ravens actually are a lot more intelligent than people understand. Although I feel like that knowledge is becoming a little more commonplace these days. Not all of us were obsessed with the Crow movie, and thus like
crows
in general, yeah.
Yeah, I was obsessed with Mystery Science.
Oh, I see.
Theater 3000 is why I'm obsessed with crows.
Yeah. Crow. I love Crow. Yeah, Crow's great, also. Did you like Gypsy?
No.
No, not a Gypsy fan?
I like Crow. What part of that?
Right, but you can like more than one. I'm not saying, is Crow your favorite?
No, Crow's my waifu. So you can't.
Yeah. I thought Joel was your waifu.
Which one?
Burn. Okay, that has nothing to do with anything. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about? Is there anything else you can think of that... so much of this movie is spoilers, like... Yeah,
a lot of it's spoilers,
it's also
and a lot of it's good.
Yeah.
So it's hard to be like, this needed to work, this needed to work. It worked really well. It's one of the best movies from this time frame that I can think of offhand.
Yeah.
It just works well, it's acted well, it's filmed well. I'm actually surprised at how much I liked it.
I would agree. I kind of wasn't expecting as intelligent of a movie as this is. It's intelligent, and it's intelligent in a lot of different ways. The dialogue is clever, but without, becoming to the point where it's sort of pretentious.
Or bogged down, even.
Yeah. There's a lot of neat tricks to any number of aspects of this film, whether it's, cinematography or elsewhere. Effects and so forth. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was really interesting, and I think at the time there's a particular facet of it that I think would appeal to people from this time, which I'm going to pause and tell Sam off air. so we can talk about it, maybe? So what did you think about that particular aspect of it?
Yeah, it was good. The whole movie was clever in that way. Like,
yeah.
showing certain things and not showing certain things and kind of having you perceive things one way.
Yeah.
When they're another way, and just that whole idea was kind of filled through the whole movie.
Yeah.
And they didn't let up on it, so it really felt like a whole idea or a whole tone was through the whole movie. Like it was really good in that way.
What did you think about the acting?
The acting was good here and bad in some spots. Really typical of the time.
Yeah.
But it's I never feel like that's bad. It's maybe just a little over dramatic at points.
Well,
but I've never. Yeah. I've always liked that. I always thought
that style,
especially when the movie isn't that dramatic, kind of like this isn't like. Yeah, really played for drama.
No,
too much.
It's not. The music stays fairly tame, even when it's like not. I expected much bigger.
Yeah, because the dramatic things are happening. It's just the tone of the movie isn't like a drama or overly dramatic.
Yeah, yeah. I thought some of the acting was good. Obviously, the Crow was the best actor, but like I thought Alexis was kind of intriguing. The character that he played was sort of intriguing. Everybody else was pretty good, too. I mean, the boyfriend was a little bland, I felt like.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, it's, Is that all? Is that all we want to talk about?
Yeah, pretty much. That's the movie. It's a pretty short one.
Yeah.
It's a pretty easy watch. It's pretty good. Like.
Yeah. Anybody who's interested in 40s and 50s, like, horror movies.
Probably already seen it.
Probably, yeah. Has probably, because it's on these packs sometimes.
But if you're somebody who's kind of interested in them, but you're not that into them, maybe you'd want to check it out and see.
Yeah.
It's very easy to watch.
It is, yeah. Well, and it's only an hour and, 17 minutes? Something 18 like minutes? So it's not a huge time sink. There's also, cinematography in this is if you watch a lot of those movies and you haven't seen this one or found a reason to watch this one, the cinematography is very unique for this time. And I know we've said that on a few of the movies that we've seen that are older. I know we said it on Was It Most Dangerous Game and stuff. But really it is. There are some really interesting moments that, when compared to its era. I mean, even today, like some of these
even
shots
modern
are nice. Yeah.
A lot of good setups, tone wise,
some nice long,
a lot of dark with light thrown in there.
Yeah.
The composition on that stuff is really good. It like they would just make really good stills in general.
Yeah. Well, I think that's about it about The Amazing Mr. X from 1948. If you're interested in cinema, history, or if you're interested in, different unique ways of using cinematography during this era, I think this is sort of a bright point you might consider watching. There's just a couple of things that really stand out about this movie. And and it's a fun, easy watch. So for every episode of the podcast, I review one movie that I saw just that very day. And I review another one basically just going over one of my old text reviews and giving any impressions that I still have left from when I saw that. The one that lines up with today is Train to Busan from 2016. This was a Foreign Friday pick. Every Friday I watch a foreign film. That doesn't exclude me from watching them throughout the rest of the week. And there actually have been a couple of weeks when I've watched a lot of them. But this is a film from South Korea. It was directed and written by Sang Ho-yeon, and this was his first film that he had ever directed that wasn't animation. Everything else that he had done had been animated films. So, personally, I thought it was really impressive. I mean, not even taking that into consideration. I didn't know that when I watched it, and I still really liked this. Sam, what did you think about it?
No, I like this movie a lot, actually.
Yeah. Train to Busan is about a father and daughter that are taking a trip to Busan, South Korea, to visit the girl's mother. The parents are divorced or separated. I don't know if they ever specifically say. As they travel, reports start coming in about violent riots throughout the country that turn out to be a rapidly spreading zombie outbreak. So ordinarily I wouldn't really talk about that if it's sort of a reveal that happens later about the fact that it's a zombie movie, but first of all, I think every poster in this gives that away. And also, it's impossible to talk about this movie. It happens that, thing happens so early in the movie that it would be impossible to talk about this without that. So I apologize if that spoiler bugged you, but it's barely a spoiler. Every time somebody refers to it, they're like, that Korean zombie movie. So I personally, what did you think about the directing in this movie? Could you tell that this was somebody who came from an animation background?
No, not really. I don't think I knew that until after I had seen the movie.
Yeah.
Way after, I think, even.
See, I thought it was really, really clear to me. You may not remember it as well as my review reminded me, but there are so many shots, the way that they're framed, that it's clear that, like, you're thinking about it from an animated perspective, because it's angles that you wouldn't necessarily think of on a train. There's also all of the characters, remember their costumes? Like, there's the baseball guy, and, like, everybody's dressed in a way that, like, you could see them, like, just hand-drawn with all of those same costumes. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was pretty clear that, he came from animation, and I think it really made the film feel, like, not cartoonish, but definitely added to the visuals in this particular case. If you're interested in this movie, or you've already seen this movie, I haven't been able to find a copy of it myself. It's just something, at least not yet. But they made an animated sequel to this, which might be a prequel. Yeah, it's actually a prequel, but it came after, called Soul Station, that is animated. So if you did like this story and you wanted more of it, there is more of it out there. You just have to find it. It's Seoul Station. That's Seoul, like the city in Korea. Yeah, and I have on and off been trying to find a copy of this for, like, a reasonable price, or finding it on one of the Netflix or Hulu. Just keep checking it, and it just has unfortunately never showed up, even though both of them, I think, at some point have had Train to Busan on there. How did you think about the acting? Did you like the acting in the movie?
Yeah, it's fine. I don't remember it too specifically well. It's been a minute since I've seen it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the acting was good. I can't really... Yeah. Other than a few things, I can't really think of anything that was super good or bad, acting-wise.
Well, the effects in this are mostly practical, and only one or two of the CG effects are noticeably poor, but they're also short. The acting I thought was pretty strong. The makeup is pretty good, the zombie makeup, and the costumes I really liked. The story actually involves character development, which I feel is something that is usually lacking in any meaningful capacity in a zombie movie. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, well, the movie is really fast paced.
Yeah, despite how long it is.
Yeah, so I could see it being hard to fit it into the movie, but they do a really good job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and one of the things that I really liked about, the filming, I was talking about, seeing the very interesting angles. Most of the movie takes place in trains. So that seems like such a hard, like, there are only so many places that you can have a camera, so many angles that you can do naturally. And I assume that they had, a fake set train for some of it, but you would think that the shots would get stale, just going, we're looking up this train and we're looking down this train and we're at a slightly lower angle. But I think the fast pace helps with that, because you're not concerned with, like, this is the same shot.
The angles. It's not. Mm-hmm. Especially on the trains, they don't sit that much.
Yeah.
Pretty much in the whole movie, they don't sit that much. It's very past-paced. I mean, fast-paced.
Fast pace.
So there's not as much dwelling on stuff.
Yeah.
because you just feel like the whole time it's moving, the whole time the train's moving, the whole time the movie's moving.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and specifically talking about the character development, so many horror and action films, and this is a very action-y sort of film, they forego character development entirely, or worse, they try to pass it off, some bullshit like a person at the end of a movie suddenly falling in love with someone in the final minutes of the film, or deciding that they are ready to have a family despite having loathed children, couple hours before in the movie. In this film, you can see the gradual process of one of the characters realizing his fault and trying to correct it slowly throughout the movie, which I thought was really good. Now, granted, the movie takes place over a pretty short period of time, and this sort of change that they show in this movie is not really realistic, but I did appreciate it anyway. It's just sort of an interesting take, I thought, on just as a genre that, like I said, I used to love zombie movies, and I just feel like every one of them is the same. Like, not really every one of them, but so few have anything interesting to say or do, and I felt this was really good. Samuel?
Yeah, it's really good.
So what did you think about the zombie performances?
I can't remember them that good.
Really?
I guess I kind of can. What are they, kind of faster zombies?
Yeah, they move really violently and erratically.
Yeah, okay, yeah, they're a little faster. They're pretty good. They do have, like, a decent amount of screen time, but in a lot of ways it's kind of like in the back of it's more of a they're more of a problem there.
Yeah, than characters.
Yeah, more of a problem they're trying to get around, and that's kind of like the movie. These zombies are kind of a problem that they're trying to get around. But yeah, they were fine. They were not like the highlight of the movie in any way.
Yeah. I thought some of the body work, some of the, the contortion.
Oh yeah, the contorting was good.
Yeah. It's some of the best I've seen possibly in a zombie movie in a long time. There's also, interestingly, I thought there was a lot less gore and blood in this movie than almost any modern example of a zombie movie that I've seen. This seems to be sort of a way of making the audience keep focused on the human element of the film, which I think in this case really worked for it. Like you said, the zombies are it's a problem. It could be bees. It could be, something.
Yeah.
And it would be the same film. It could be a toxic gas or something. And it wouldn't totally affect the film. There are definitely a couple of ways that it would, but I don't dislike the sort of zombie movies that focus on the gore and try to force you to look away. Those can be really effective, I think. But the sort that instead focus on the reaction of the human populations, the lengths that they'll go through to prioritize either themselves or the greater good, those can be even harder to watch to me personally when you're forced to make tough decisions, or you see people, repeatedly not make the tough decision at any point. Which is your favorite approach as far as like zombie movies are concerned?
I don't know. It doesn't.
Does it depend on how it's applied?
Yeah. I don't think it really matters. I think probably the best thing about this movie is that the characterization of people and that you could interchange the problem.
Yeah.
Because you're more focused on them solving the problem and there being a problem.
Yeah.
And them finding ways to get around it and achieve the goal or whatever.
Yeah.
They're looking for. So you have kind of their personal conflict. And the overall conflict kind of fueling the movie.
Yes.
Which is interesting no matter what the setting is. So.
Well, and that's one of the things too. They do spend a fair amount of time for a zombie. Well, I mean, I guess they do this in a number of zombie movies, but they spend a lot of time on exploring the terribleness of humans, rather than.
Yeah, it reminded me of Night of the Living Dead in that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is probably one of my favorite zombie movies.
I think that they didn't really go fully down the rabbit hole as far as like discussing how terrible humans can be, but it doesn't shy away from the effects of fear or self-interest or mob mentality, any of that. It does explore all of those elements.
Oh, I thought it really showed how terrible people were.
It does.
A lot. Okay.
It does. It just, I feel like they could have gone, they don't go full, like, unrealistic level of, you know, they definitely do that, but it doesn't go fully down the rabbit hole in that way. Like, it doesn't.
It's not what the movie's about, is that what you mean?
No, I just mean they don't show the worst that a human can do. So we were just talking about, we just paused it to talk about different aspects of the film, and we really can't agree on whether this really goes really dark or it doesn't go as dark as it could. According, my review supports that I felt like they didn't go completely into it. They definitely spend a lot of time with it, and the characters are really well developed. The script is sort of relies on the tiny snatches of dialogue that it has to give the audience an impression of the character without screaming any kind of archetype in your face, which I really appreciated. So what did you like about the characterization? Was there anything in particular that you can remember specifically?
Not specifically, more vaguely. Everybody's kind of had, like, their own stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
They fleshed them out and the way they felt about certain things.
Yeah.
Some of them, how they related to other characters was really good. So, you know, by the time, you know, things were happening, it was compelling to why people were doing certain stuff.
Yeah.
It was just good in that way. Simple and good in that way.
Do you remember the two sisters?
Yeah.
Those I mentioned in my review, I had actually forgotten until then, but I really liked one example of, like, how they use these small sections of dialogue to really build up their character is those particular two sisters. There's a single exchange of 2 lines between the characters, and it's enough to make you understand the character. And I really wished I remembered that they had more screen time in that movie, to really find out the backstory. Do you remember what those lines were?
No, I don't remember.
Okay, I'm gonna pause. That was a really extended break, and I don't remember exactly what we were talking about, but we were talking about those 2 characters. Did you, that particular scene, did you, like, connect to that as much as I did?
Yeah, that was good. I don't know how much I connected to it. It was really good, though. All that little stuff was really good in general. There's a lot of little things like that.
Yeah.
That add up for each character, and it doesn't seem like they just threw something in that didn't relate to the character or story.
Yeah.
That's it. The movie's just really well put together in that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought so too. It's basically a well-made version of a pretty standard zombie story, but it uses its resources well, and it knows that human characters can't be glossed over if you want anything but, like, a totally basic zombie movie, I felt like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely one of the more interesting ones I've seen. And this is I think this was one of the first Korean movies I'd ever seen before. I was really impressed. There have been a number of Korean movies that I have seen since. And I think only one of them did I, like, not really care too much for. So I think they've all been good. I think a lot of, like, the quality of foreign films that you'll find here, or international films that you'll find do actually make it across the pond here. I think because of the language barrier, it has to be something really good if they're going to bother to translate it into English. So I think that can definitely be a reason why the quality of those seems to be better than American films sometimes, like, to certain people, because all of the crappy films, the, stuff that doesn't make it over, that you'll never hear about it. So, and definitely never see it.
Yeah, and you'll get pushed any
dumb American. Yeah. Or even just regular English
movie.
language.
Yeah, movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I knew that. But I thought the movie is really good. Like, I'm having a hard time thinking of specific
details of what
because
happens.
It's all, like, no, just specific things I liked about it or that I thought were good, because it's just overall good.
Yeah, there isn't anything that's really bad.
Yeah, there's nothing that's really bad, and there's nothing that's amazingly great about it. The movie's just put together well, and works as a movie, so it's good.
Yeah.
There's no, like, there's a few good scenes I could probably talk about, but it just all works so well together. It all comes together so enjoyable in the end.
Yeah. I don't know. I really liked it. This has been, I definitely wouldn't call it my, in my top 10 movies here, but I have been fixated on seeing that Seoul Station since I watched this. And this was a day 20 movie. Like, that's when I had this movie. So when I saw this movie was day 20. I'm on day 282. And it's still probably, I would say it's in my top 30 probably. If not, it'd be really close.
Yeah, maybe mine too. We've seen a lot of really bad movies. Like,
I've made you watch so many of these.
I know I've liked both on this podcast, but we watched some really bad ones, and I usually let you talk about those ones on your own.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes those are the ones that are more fun to talk about, though, because you remember every single detail that annoyed
about how
you.
Terrible it is.
Even if you don't remember every specific detail in Train to Busan that you really liked. Yeah, so I think that's kind of all that really needs to be said.
Yeah, it's good. I would recommend it to just anybody who's I guess into like Korean cinema.
Zombie movies.
Zombie movies, doesn't care about subtitles.
Yeah.
It's very appealable.
Yeah, appealing, yeah.
To pretty much anybody,
yeah,
within a certain range.
Well, and even horror fans, I feel like there's enough human drama.
Yeah, it's not that, like, it's very horror-y. Yeah, horror-y.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there's enough human drama to, like, keep somebody else interested in it.
I mean, it's mostly human drama. Like,
yeah.
At least the important parts, the parts that stick with you. Like, yeah, they run from zombies a lot, but... Yeah. I don't know. I would agree with that. I like I said, personally, I would think that people who weren't interested in zombie movies weren't interested in horror movies. The gore, like I said, isn't terrible for a zombie movie. Usually that's the biggest, heaviest thing in those movies. And the human drama, it does keep you. It's almost, in some ways, it's almost like a K-drama that's in the skin of a horror movie to me. Not completely, but definitely partially. Yeah. Yeah, so is there anything else that you wanted to talk about, or? You're so tired.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we did suggestions, so what else is there?
Nothing, that's it.
Okay, well, I guess that's our show. Thank you for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed our ramblings and long pauses that you didn't hear and all kinds of fun stuff. Sidebars. All of our sidebars.
Our conferences.
All of
the movie.
Yeah. So yeah, if you enjoyed this, you should like it or rate it or subscribe or whatever. All the things that happen on all the websites. If you listened to it on one platform and didn't really like it, the way that you happen to consume it, I'm on YouTube, Stitcher, iTunes, Podcast Addict, and most of the other pod catchers. I am on, like, all of the social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I am actually starting to upload pictures from, movie posters from the movies. I didn't have a chance to do it. I had kind of a weirdly busy day for doing not as much as I feel like I could have accomplished today. And, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Samuel, did you have a rating for?
Yeah, I'll give it 1 train out of 1 Busan.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, I give it 40 baseball players.
40 baseball players.
Yeah, that's what I do.
That's pretty good, honestly. You should start doing that. I'm gonna charge the ratings now.
40 baseball players. Yeah. Thank you so much, and have a good night.